गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारि यमुना तीरा वनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारि यमुना तीरा वनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शील प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शील प्रभुपदा जय ओम विष्णु पाद परमहंस परमहंस अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमती स्वामी ऐसे वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापक शील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णु पाद परमहंस परमहंस अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमती स्वामी भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णु पाद गौर किशोर दास बाबू महाराज की जय। एवं विष्णुपाद सच्चिदानंद श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। एवं विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सर्ववंशी जगन्नाथ दास बाबा महाराज की जय। जय श्री रूप चंद्र भट्ट गुणा श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपिन श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिगोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री गौरांगी बेंगलोरीश्वर भगवान की जय। श्री मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगामयी की जय। यमुनामयी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। श्री हरनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरुवंद की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि। All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled. All glories to the Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु पत्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna, welcome to the Friday morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, text 23 and 24. I'll read the first text 23. Sunandananda Vuchatuhu Bobo Rajan Subhadram Te Vacham No Vahita Shruno Yapancha Varshas Tapasa Bhavan Devam Atitripat. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nanda and Sunanda, the two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, said, Dear King, let there be all good fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you were only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities, and you thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for anyone. Any 5-year-old child can be trained, and within a very short time, his life will become successful by realization of Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, this training is lacking all over the world. It is necessary for the leaders of the Krishna conscious movement to start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children starting at the age of 5 years. Thus, such children will not become hippies or spoiled children of society. Rather, they can all become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. Text 24. Tasya kila jagaddatur avam devasya sharang ginah parshadam iva sampraptau netum tvam bhagavat padam. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of the whole universe, who carries in his hand the bow named Saranga. We have been specifically deputed to take you to the spiritual world. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that simply by knowing his transcendental pastimes, whether within this material world or in the spiritual world, anyone who understands factually who he is, how he appears, and how he acts can be immediately fit for transfer to the spiritual world. This principle stated in the Bhagavad Gita operated in the case of King Dhruva. Throughout his life, he tried to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by austerity and penances. Now, the mature result was that Dhruva Maharaj became fit to be carried to the spiritual world, accompanied by the confidential associates of the Lord. ज्ञानांजन शलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुर्वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगुणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सगणललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Moham Karoti Vachalam, Bangam Lekhi, Padam Muhammad, Shri Gurum Dayata, Parmanda Madam, Shri Chaitanya Mission. Hare Krishna. So here we see that there are two associates of Lord Krishna who have come here to pick up Dhruva Maharaj and take him to the spiritual world. Their names are given as Nanda and Sunanda. In text number 23, they came and then told to Dhruva Maharaj that there be all good fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you were only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities and you thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Dhruva Maharaj, when he was a young boy at a very early age, he went to the forest to perform tapasya, austerities, based on the instructions of his mother. So by the austerities that he performed, he was able to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord appeared in front of him, asked him to, before that he meets his spiritual master Narad Muni. Narad Muni initiates him and gives him a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Then Dhruva Maharaj meditates on that. Based on the mercy given by Narad Muni, Dhruva Maharaj sees the form of the Lord and then meditates, and he sees the Lord personally on a one-to-one basis. So when he saw the Lord, then whatever material desires that he had, it vanquished from his mind. And Lord was also very pleased with him. So then the Lord, being pleased with his devotional service, he appeared again this time. He did not appear, but he sent his associates to take Dhruva Maharaj back to the spiritual world. So that is the original home where we were and we are supposed to go back after leaving our body. So how the process begins, that's what is mentioned in these two slokas. Dhruva Maharaj, even when he was 5 years old, he underwent a lot of austerities. Some months he used to live only on fruits. Finally, later he started living only on the air which we breathe and so forth. That way he performed a lot of austerities. You should understand there are 4 pillars of religion: austerity, mercy, truthfulness, and cleanliness. So without these 4, one cannot perform religion or go through religious practices. And Dhruva Maharaj did this at a very early age and became mature in devotional service. The maturity is that he was able to see the Lord and he attained love of Godhead. So there is a sloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto itself, it says, Vasudeva Parabeda, Vasudeva Paramakaha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriyaha, Vasudeva Paramjnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapaha, Vasudeva Parodharmo, Vasudeva Paragati. The translation says, in the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. That means if you are trying to get some knowledge, the goal should be to understand Lord Krishna. Then it says the purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. That means if one is performing any sacrifice or any yoga practices, the ultimate goal should be to please Krishna, because ultimately the results are given of these activities are given by him only. Then he is the supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him only. So any austerities that anyone performs should be only to please Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If that is not done, then all the austerities are a waste of time and energy. Then dharma is for pleasing, rendering loving service to Krishna, and is the supreme goal of life. That means any activity we do should be only to please Krishna, and if it is not there, the purpose is not achieved. So Nanda and Sunanda came said that you have done this, you have performed a lot of austerities, and thereby the Supreme Lord was greatly pleased with your austerities. The point is that without austerities, one cannot practice even think of even practicing religion. If you go through some of the examples in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a mention as to how when Lord Brahma appeared from the lotus flower from the that came out of the navel of Prabodhakasai Vishnu, he appeared on his own self. He was not born out of any union between a male and a female. He appeared on his own as it is. That's why he is also called Aja or Swayambhu. So when he was born, he did not see anything excepting water flowing in all the directions in a harsh way. So that air of devastation began to move the water and the lotus in great circular waves. So then, even though he tried to understand himself for 1 millennium, millennium is millions of years, he was perplexed. He started contemplating as to who I am situated on the top of the lotus, where from I have come, and then uh, uh, what am I to do? So this way, when he was contemplating, then he thought that this lotus has come up from the water. Let me enter into that stem of the lotus, and then let me see if there is anything else. So Brahma entered into that stem all the way. He reached up to the bottom, but he could not trace out the root of the stem. Then, being unable to achieve that, he again came back to the top and concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. At the end of 100 years, he meditated on, after he did meditation on the Supreme Lord, he got the required knowledge and he could see the Supreme Lord in his heart, which he could not see before, even with his greatest endeavor. Then he could understand the Supreme Lord when he saw him face to face, and he understood that the Lord is the supreme cause of all causes, and he wrote the Brahma Samhita. So this is how Brahma's austerities also. Initially, he tried to see the Lord himself, but when he failed, then later on he heard the word tapa. Tapa in Sanskrit means austerities. Then he performed austerities for many millions of years. Finally, when the Lord was pleased, he revealed himself. Not only that, Brahma then prayed for creation. He said, "O object of my worship, I am born from the house of your lotus navel for the purpose of creating the universe by your mercy. All these planets of the universe are stationed within your abdomen while you are enjoying the sleep, that is Yoga Nidra. Now your sleep is ended, your eyes are open like blooming lotus in the morning. May the Lord be merciful to me so that I may be empowered to create. For I am also one of the surrendered souls who are dear to the Lord. I pray only to engage in this service in the creation of the material world. And I pray that I may not be materially affected by my works." So Brahma knew the purpose of his appearance was to create the material world. And he also knew that the process of creation involves a mode of passion. And he also knew that that mode can affect him. So now then he prayed that he should not be materially affected by this work of creation. Then he says, "For thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator." So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that in this position of Brahma, one has to take into consideration that one should not see many times we may purchase a small object like a TV or something, and then when we start seeing it, then we sometimes become very puffed up. We may call our friends, neighbors, etc., and show them, "See, I brought a new TV like this. See how nice it is. It's the latest in the market. I paid so much." We get puffed up, and we want to show that this object has been purchased by you with a hard-earned money, and we become attached to it. And Brahma knew his position that this will happen to him in the course of creation also. So he prayed that in the course of this creation, he may not be attached, and rather he may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns. So Srila Prabhupada comments that one should be very careful because the material energy is very powerful and one should always seek protection from the Lord. So after all these prayers that Brahma offered, he became silent as if he was very tired from his penance. Then the Lord saw that Brahma was very anxious about the planning and creation, how to create and so forth, how to construct the whole planetary system. And he was depressed actually upon seeing the devastating water. Imagine if we are stuck in a small boat in a large ocean, we don't know what to do. That is a time when people think of God. Otherwise, people normally don't think of God. But in a situation like that, one becomes afraid. So Brahma was also afraid. But seeing this situation, the Lord spoke to Brahma. He said, "O depth of Vedic wisdom, be neither depressed nor anxious about the execution of creation." It means Lord is giving an assurance, don't get depressed or don't become anxiety, develop anxiety for this creation. Then the Lord said, what you are begging from me has already been granted before. Situate yourself in penance and meditation. When you are absorbed in devotion service in the course of creative activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe. In that state, you will be able to free from all kinds of illusion. That means the Lord is giving an assurance that situate yourself in penance even at the time of creation. In that stage, you will be able to see me and see everything in me. And then you will become free from the concentration of the gross and subtle bodies. And you will see me in my pure form and you will be situated in pure consciousness. So this is how Brahma was also bewildered. And then when he performed austerities, he was able to see the Lord on a face-to-face, on a personal. But he had to also perform tapasya for many, many years. So based on this, what Dhruva Maharaj performed, the Lord was very, very pleased. It is said that the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was protected in 3 stages in his life, right from the beginning. In the beginning, he was protected by his mother, who told him to go to the forest. Thereafter, he went to the forest. He was protected by Narad Muni, who initiated him with the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and also gave him instructions to the form of the Lord in the form of a deity and worship, initiated him, and then Dhruva Maharaj obeyed that instruction, so Narad Muni was protected there. And in the process of performing devotional service, the Lord became very pleased. And being pleased with the Dhruva Maharaj austerities, the Lord sent his associates to Dhruva Maharaj ruled the kingdom for 36,000 years. And then the Lord sent his associates to pick him up, to take him to the spiritual world. So this is how the spiritual process works. And Dhruva Maharaj was protected right from the beginning and until the end, till he went to the spiritual world. Now, the one important point that we will understand that purpose of all these activities, austerities, etc., is to attain our original constitutional position, which is render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all this is done for pleasing the Supreme Lord only. And if we have a good, sincere desire to serve the Lord facilitates the concerned devotee, providing the facility, just like even in the case of Brahma, the Lord provided that facility and Brahma could create. And finally, he was not attached to in the process of creation, Brahma was not attached to the mode of passion, which involves the creation. But the ultimate goal we must understand is to uh, and attain love of God, which is very important, whatever we do, whether it's austerities or yajna or chanting the holy name, etc. So another example that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam is about the cowherd boys who are associated with Lord Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that as to how after many, many years of associating with Krishna, when Krishna appeared last in 5,000 years before, they got the opportunity not only to associate with the Lord, but the Lord dined with them and food with them and so forth and enjoyed their association. So this is how devotional service works. But the ultimate point is that one must be in a position to satisfy the Lord by whatever activity they do. If the Gopakumaras who got the chance of associating with the Lord after many, many births, then we must understand what is our position. We go through some more examples. It is said that during Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, this is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was a Brahmana, and this Brahmana, during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to conduct Sankirtan at Sriva's house every night, and only very close associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were allowed inside. So there was a Brahmana who was very, very harsh, and he was known for cursing others, etc. So he went to hear the Sankirtan, but the door was locked. So the next day, he got very angry and he went to the bank of Ganges and he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. So he, out of his anger, he broke his Brahminical thread and he told Mahaprabhu, I shall now curse you for your behavior has greatly aggrieved me. You shall be bereft of all material happiness. So when the Lord heard, he felt a lot of jubilation in himself because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took this curse as a blessing, and in fact, he took sannyas and then he went around traveling all over, preaching the glories of the Lord. And that's how the mission of chanting the holy name of the Lord started. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to uphold the position of the Brahmana in society, so he kept this curse intact. Similarly, there was another Brahmana who came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan. This Brahmana was very, very austere, very saintly, and very faultless. He survived only by having uncooked food, like milk, and he used to take some fruits as a measure of austerity, as he thought that cooked food spoils one's life. So he would survive on milk and fruits, etc. So one day he requested Srivas Pandita to allow him to see that Sankirtana and see the Lord's dancing. Srivas Prabhu then told him, you have lived a life of celibacy, surviving only on fruits, etc. But the Lord has instructed me not to bring anyone from outside. But I can do one thing, you be hidden in this house without revealing yourself. He took the Brahmana inside and hid himself, hid the Brahmana. Kirtan started. As soon as the Kirtan started, Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhara Pandit, while everyone was dancing, he said, I'm not feeling any ecstasy today in the Kirtan. Is there anyone who is not qualified and is in the house for seeing the Kirtan? So at that time, Srivas replied, there is one brahmachari, he is a very, very pious Brahmana, who lives a very sinless life and survives, performs austerities, and lives only on drinking milk and some fruits. And he had a strong desire to see this dancing. So I have hidden him in this house. When Mahaprabhu heard this, he got very angry. He immediately said, quickly take him out of this house. What qualification does he have to see my dancing? Is it possible that just by drinking milk, one can attain the qualification of seeing me and the Kirtan? What qualification does this Brahmana have? Know that even if there is a Chandala who surrenders to me, he is mine and I am his. But this Brahmana, if you think that he's performing austerities just by drinking milk and taking some fruits, that is not all. So Mahaprabhu further said, even if a sannyasi does not surrender to me, he is not mine. This is the truth I am telling you. Then he asked further, what all austerities did Gajendra perform? What all austerities did the monkeys perform during Lord Rama's pastimes? And what all cowherd austerity the cowherd boys had to perform to attain me? So what is the result they got? And this Brahmana, he cannot attain these results just by drinking milk. So at that time, the brahmachari was in fear, and he thought that I'm indeed fortunate to have been seen the Lord dancing, and I also received the appropriate punishment for my offense. I mean, the Brahmana realized that the austerities he performed was artificial. It was not to please Krishna. So Mahaprabhu, who is also situated as the Paramatma in everyone's heart, he realized this, and that is how he asked Srivas Pandita to remove this Brahmana and throw him out of that place. So when Srivas did this, then the Brahmana started crying, and he started realizing his mistake, that whatever he did it with a purpose to satisfy his own self ego and not to satisfy the Supreme Lord. And that's how he was asked by the Lord to go out. So then when he was crying, the Lord is again situated in his heart as Paramatma. Then the Lord asked him to be called back. And the Lord told him that he should not be proud of austerities, but devotional the service to Krishna is the ultimate purpose. So like this, there are many pastimes given in Srimad Bhagavatam. The point is that, see, even the case of Achamila, he did not utter the name of the Lord to please the Lord, but he called out for his youngest son's name Narayana to protect himself from the hands of the Yamadutas when he left his body. So there is a long discussion given about the conversation that took place between the Yamadutas and Vishnudutas. And ultimately, the conclusion was that, yes, at the time of leaving his body, he called out the Lord's name, so he should not be taken to Yamaraj. Finally, he was taken to the spiritual world. The point is that in the Ajamila's case, even though he accidentally called out for the Lord's name, still the Lord protected him. But we should not take that as an example. If you look at the example of the pastime of Bali Maharaj and Vaman Dev, Bali Maharaj surrendered himself to Vaman Dev. He gave everything to whatever he had to Vaman Dev. In fact, Shukracharya at that point of time told Bali Maharaj that don't depend on this Brahmana, on this Dwarf Brahmana, because he's none other than the Supreme Personality of God himself. To which Bali Maharaj said, if it is the Supreme Lord who has come in disguise as a Dwarf Brahmana to take away all whatever I have, I'm willing to give everything. And he, against his spiritual master's instruction, Bali Maharaj gave up everything. And finally, when he had nothing, the Lord asked, with my 2 feet, I've taken everything from you, whatever was there in the higher planets and lower planets. I have one more feet to place. Where shall I place my feet? That is the time Bali Maharaj asked the Lord to place his lotus feet on his head. And this way, he surrendered himself. So even though Bali Maharaj had a different intention, but the Lord was pleased by his surrender. And finally, the Lord told him, okay, now you go to Patala Loka, but I will come there and be as a guardian for you. And so this is how, if you see, look at the way it is past tense. Gajendra, when he was in deep distress, he had performed devotional service in his previous life. But at the time of distress, he picked up a lotus flower and offered a lot of prayers to the Lord. And finally, the Lord came in his word and he killed that crocodile with his disc and protected Gajendra, the elephant. The point is that at that time, Gajendra was also in distress. When one is in distress, one automatically calls out for the Lord out of affection. That affection does not happen for the Lord unless and until one is free from one's false ego. And when one is in a distress, then what happens is his ego is gone, and then he is able to call out for the Lord's name automatically out of affection. One more similar examples are there. Srila Prabhupada, it is said that when he went to the US, he had only 40 rupees with him. He didn't know anybody. He stayed in the house of one Sally Agarwal, whom he has never met. And then he got the opportunity to see her father once in India. Using that name, he went there. And he had no money, no shelter, nothing. And when he stayed in their house, he was also sharing the same refrigerator which they were keeping. They used to keep non-vegetarian in separate, and Sri Prabhupada did not resist because he didn't know anybody. But then as the movement grew, it is said that many devotees used to work in various services. For example, my spiritual master is Holy Jayapataka Maharaj himself. It is said that he used to go to a restaurant and do some work there, and then support with whatever money he got, he gave it to the movement. And this way, many devotees worked in various places, and finally they gave whatever they had to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, used everything that he had to run this movement and establish the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So there is a mention here in the purport that what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj to attain is possible for anyone also. And Srila Prabhupada specifically mentions that children should be taught Krishna consciousness from a very young early age, because when they are trained from an early age, they mature also by the time they grow. Otherwise, what happens, like people like us will come at a very late age, and then we have difficulty uh, in practicing Krishna consciousness due to so many challenges that we face. But when children are exposed to devotional service at a very young age, they also mature. And Srila Prabhupada specifically mentions that by training them properly, these children will not become hippies in the world. Like when Srila Prabhupada, when they were mostly hippies who joined the movement. And so Srila Prabhupada cautions that if children are trained properly, they will not become hippies, rather they will become devotees of the Lord. Then we go to text number 24, where the two gods, that means Nanda and Sunanda, they are telling Dhruva Maharaj, we are representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of the whole universe, who carries in his hand the bow named Sharanga. We have been specifically deputed to take you to the spiritual world. So they say that they have come here specifically based on the instructions of the Supreme Lord to bring Dhruva Maharaj back to the spiritual world. So they are claiming themselves to be representatives of the Supreme Lord, who carries this bow name Saranga. So in Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord says, Srila Prabhupada mentions about the quote given, Janma karma cha me divyam, evam yoveti tattvaha, takta devam junardharmam, purajanma naiti mameti swarjuna. The translation is, one who knows the transcendental nature of my birth and the transcendental nature of my pastimes, upon leaving his body, he goes to the spiritual world, and he does not have to take birth again in this material world. So this is a quote that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport. The important point is that Dhruva Maharaj took these instructions of his spiritual master Narad Muni and applied it in full. Narad Muni had initiated him with the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva and asked him to perform tapasya by chanting that mantra, and asked him to carve a form of the deity, and Dhruva Maharaj did this and worship the deity form. Then when Dhruva Maharaj was result in there was fixed, when he got the result of maturity of devotional service, the Lord came in person and showed him, revealed his form. So the point is that Dhruva Maharaj did all these austerities, penances, observing the instructions given by his spiritual master to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So finally, the associates of the Lord came there to pick up Dhruva Maharaj. This is, from these two instruction slokas, we understand one thing, is that whatever activities we do, we have to do it for the purpose of pleasing the Supreme Lord, not as a means of formality. So from the cases like Dhruva Maharaj, we see Vamanadev, they did all these things to please the Lord. So finally, they became great devotees of the Lord. Of course, similarly, if we see Prahlad Maharaj at a very young age, he was a very mature devotee, and Hiranyakashipu tried his level best to kill Prahlad Maharaj by throwing him from the top of a hill, putting him in the fire, etc. But he was all the time protected by the Lord. And the point is that as long as we are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, one is always protected by the Lord in all the circumstances. So that's why if it is a practice that is generated from a young age, it becomes easier for one to apply these practices and mature in one lifetime itself. In fact, Srila Prabhupada said it is possible to attain in one lifetime. So, if we follow the instructions given by our spiritual master, we can also become mature in our devotional service. So, with this, I conclude the class for the day. If anyone has got any questions or comments on the subject today, they can ask me. So, if no questions or comments, I take the class as concluded. Thank you all very much. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.